Welcome back, deep divers. Today we're diving into something a little different. It's a brochure, actually.
Oh, a brochure.
Yeah, but it's not just any brochure. It's from REMAX UTLAND. They're a real estate agency, but they're based in Gran Canaria.
Gran Canaria. Okay. I see where this is going.
Exactly. Buying property overseas can be a little scary, right?
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Tons of things to think about.
So we're going to break it all down, see what the Gran Canaria market is like right now, especially for us, from outside.
Sounds good.
Plus, we'll look at what makes REMAX UTLAND different, see if they live up to the hype.
All right, let's jump in.
Right off the bat, it's clear they're talking to foreign buyers like us.
Yeah, that's smart. They're acknowledging the elephant in the room.
Totally. Like buying in another country, that's
Yep.
a whole other level of, wait, what?
Absolutely. Legal stuff, language barriers. I mean, where do you even start?
And they know it. It's like they're saying, hey, we get it, you're nervous, and that's okay.
Right. And then they hit you with, the market's changing, folks. Post-pandemic world, inflation, interest rates going crazy.
Yeah, that caught my eye too. So what does that even mean for us, like practically?
Well, whether you're buying or selling, knowing what your property is actually worth right now is super important.
Well, that's true. I wouldn't want to overpay. Or undersell, for that matter.
Exactly. And that's where they come in. They offer this free property valuation service, no strings attached.
Okay, that's a pretty good starting point. At least you know what you're dealing with.
Definitely. So, moving on, they talk a lot about being part of the REMAX family. You know, the whole world's largest real estate agency thing.
Yeah, 50 years of experience, 2,400 offices in Europe alone. But does that matter when I'm just looking at one little island?
You know, it might. Think about it. Buying abroad is a big leap. You want someone you can trust, right? Someone with a track record.
That's true. I mean, you don't want to hand over your life savings to just anyone.
Exactly. REMAX has that brand recognition. It's like a seal of approval, especially when you're dealing across borders.
Like a familiar face in a sea of unknowns. But REMAX ULAND, they take it further, right? They specialize in helping people from overseas.
Yeah. They seem to get that we might need a little extra hand-holding, language help, understanding the local rules, all that.
Okay, that's comforting. So they speak my language, literally and figuratively. But what about this agent promise they keep mentioning? It sounds pretty serious.
It is. It's like their way of saying we hold ourselves to a higher standard.
But what does that actually mean for me as a buyer or seller?
Well, for one, you can cancel the sales agreement. No penalties, nothing. If the agent doesn't live up to the agent promise.
Seriously, that's a pretty bold move.
Right. It shows they're confident in their service, and it gives you, the client, a ton of power.
So they're big, they're experienced, and they seem pretty committed to doing things right. But what about the actual services they offer?
Well, they have a few unique things going on. Like, they have this buyer's agent service, which sounds pretty cool.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Basically, they become your personal property finder. Think of it like having someone else do all the legwork for you.
Wait, so they go through all the listings, figure out what matches what I want, and then...
They present you with the best options. Saves you so much time and hassle.
And, get this, it's free. For buyers, at least.
Really? Free? Wow, that's a pretty sweet deal. I mean, it's like having your own personal real estate shopper.
Exactly. Okay, I'm already impressed. What else do they have up their sleeve?
All right, how about this? They have something called live viewings.
Live viewings? What's that? Some kind of virtual reality thing?
Kinda. You can basically view properties remotely, like without even being in Gran Canaria.
Wait, seriously. So I can be sitting here on my couch and...
And check out potential homes on the other side of the world.
That's incredible. It's like a virtual open house, but from anywhere.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It helps you narrow down your choices before you even think about booking a flight.
Okay, mind blown. But wouldn't there be a risk of, like, expectation versus reality issues?
That's a good point, but they seem to address that. They have a special guarantee for anyone who reserves a property after a live viewing.
So they're that confident in their virtual tours.
Interesting. Okay, so I can virtually tour properties. What else?
They also have these area viewings. They take you on an hour-long car tour of different neighborhoods.
Oh, that's smart. Seeing photos is one thing, but actually getting a feel for the area.
Totally. It's about experiencing the vibe, the community, all that. And they even mention some of the spots they take you to. Arguiniguin, Puddle of Vaca, Los Caideros.
Wow, those names sound amazing. I can practically feel the sunshine already.
It's like a little taste of paradise.
Mm.
Okay, so we've virtually toured properties, explored the neighborhoods. What about the boring stuff, like paperwork International transactions can be a nightmare, right?
Oh, tell me about it. Just thinking about it makes my head spin. Well, they emphasize their paperless business approach. So hopefully that makes things a bit smoother.
Paperless business. That sounds promising. So less paperwork for me, less hassle for everyone.
Exactly. And good for the environment, too. But now, the big question. What about the money? How do I know my funds are safe, especially in a foreign country?
Yeah, that's a huge concern. International money transfers, legal processes, it can be a bit overwhelming.
They mention a secure client account, so that's a good sign. It means they're taking security seriously.
Okay, that's reassuring. But how does it actually work? What's a secure client account anyway?
Well, it's like a protected holding place for the money involved in the transaction. It's managed by a neutral third party, so there's less risk.
Interesting. So my money isn't just floating around somewhere in the ether.
Exactly. It's held securely until all the conditions of the sale are met. Protects both the buyer and the seller.
Okay, so they seem to have that covered, but how do I know I can really trust these people?
They repeatedly highlight their spotless record. No legal issues, no complaints, nothing.
That's a good sign. If they've been around for a while and haven't had any problems, that says something.
They even talk about selling properties unseen with great feedback. That's a pretty strong indicator of trust.
Wow, people are buying properties without even seeing them in person. That's wild.
It shows they've built a reputation for honesty and transparency, which is crucial, especially when you're dealing with a big investment like this.
All right, I'm starting to feel a little better about this whole overseas buying thing. They've got experience, a good reputation, and they seem to have all the bases covered.
So far, so good. They've definitely put a lot of thought into making the process as easy and secure as possible for foreign buyers like us.
But wait, there's more, right? There was something in the brochure about a special service for sellers, something about real-time updates.
Ah, yes. The sales process in real time. It sounds intriguing, but they didn't give too many details in their brochure.
It sounds like they're using technology to keep sellers informed every step of the way. I bet that would put a lot of minds at ease.
Definitely. Communication is key in any transaction, but especially when you're selling your property.
All right, so they've got buyers covered, sellers covered. What else is there?
Oh, there's one more thing. They mentioned a unique guarantee for people who reserve a property after a live viewing.
Another guarantee. What's this one all about?
It's not totally clear from the brochure, but it seems like they're willing to back up their virtual tours with some kind of assurance.
Interesting. Like, if the property isn't exactly as it appeared in the live viewing.
Maybe. It definitely shows they're confident in their technology and the accuracy of their virtual representations.
I'm really impressed with how much thought they've put into making the process as smooth and secure as possible.
They've created a pretty comprehensive package. It addresses a lot of the concerns that foreign buyers and sellers might have.
I started this deep dive feeling pretty hesitant about buying property overseas, but now, honestly, I'm feeling a lot more optimistic.
That's great. Knowledge is power, as they say, and understand the process can make all the difference.
Absolutely. But before we get too carried away with dreams of island living, I think we need to dive a little deeper into those unique services they mentioned.
You're right. Let's unpack those live viewings and area viewings a bit more.
Yeah, let's see what they really entail and how they can benefit someone like me who's seriously considering buying a property in Gran Canaria.
Let's do it.
All right, let's talk about those live viewings. They sound pretty futuristic.
Right. It's like Star Trek, but for house hunting.
So how does it actually work? Do they beam me to Gran Canaria?
Not quite, but it's close.
Uh,
Imagine a video call, but instead of your grandma, it's a REMAX agent walking you through a property.
Oh, I see. So it's live and interactive.
Yeah, exactly. You're not just watching a pre-recorded video. You can ask questions, have them show you specific things.
So if I want to see what the view from the balcony is like, I can just ask.
Exactly. They can even open cupboards, check appliances, whatever you want to see.
That's amazing. It's way better than just looking at photos online. But isn't there a risk of, like, the property not matching up to the video?
That's a valid concern.
Yeah.
But remember that guarantee they mentioned, the one for reserving after a live viewing? That seems to be their way of addressing that.
Oh, right. So they're confident enough in their live viewings to offer a guarantee. That's a good sign. Okay, so live viewings. Check. What about those area viewings?
Ah, yes. The neighborhood tour. Once you've got a short list from those live viewings, the area viewing lets you experience the different areas firsthand.
Okay, so I'm not just seeing the house, I'm seeing what's around it, the vibe, the shops, the whole neighborhood.
Exactly. It's like a mini road trip with a REMAX agent who knows all the ins and outs of the area.
And they mentioned some specific places, right? Something about Arguiniguin and...
Yeah, there's Arguina, Padlavaca, Los Caderos, a bunch of places with those cool, exotic-sounding
It's
names.
all starting to sound very tempting.
Okay.
Okay, so I've seen the properties, I've explored the neighborhoods. What's next? The paperwork?
The dreaded paperwork. Yeah, that's where things can get a little hairy, especially in another country.
Ugh, I hate paperwork. Is it all in Spanish? Do I need a lawyer?
Well, they did mention the paperless business thing, so hopefully that streamlines things a bit.
Okay, good. Less paperwork for me. But what about the legal stuff? Do I need to understand Spanish property law?
Well, the brochure doesn't go into a ton of detail about the legalities, but they do highlight their team's expertise.
So I'd have someone guiding me through the process.
Yeah, it seems like they have people who know the ins and outs of Spanish property law and can help you navigate everything.
Okay, that takes a bit of the pressure off. And remember the agent promise. That applies to the whole process, not just the beginning.
Right.
So I have some protection if things go wrong.
Exactly. It's like a safety net in case something unexpected happens.
Okay, I'm feeling a lot better about this whole overseas buying thing. It's starting to seem less scary and more
Yeah.
doable.
It's all about understanding the process and knowing that you have support every step of the way.
That's true. But there's still one big question we haven't addressed. The financial side of things.
You're right. That's a big one. How do the transactions work? Is my money safe?
Yeah, those are the questions keeping me up at night.
Don't worry, we're going to dive into all those financial details next.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see how REMAX UTLAND handles the money part of the equation.
All right, let's talk about the elephant in the room, the money.
Yeah, the financial side of things. It's a big deal, especially when we're talking about buying property overseas.
Exactly. So how does REMAX UTLAND handle all of that? They mentioned this secure client account thing.
Right, the secure client account, it's like a safety net for your money.
Hmm.
Basically, it's a separate account where the funds for the transaction are held.
Okay, so my money isn't going directly to the seller.
Nope. It's held by a neutral third party, a notary public. Think of them like a referee, making sure everything is fair and square.
So the money is held in this secure account
Until all the conditions of the sale are met. You know, all the paperwork is signed, all the inspections are done, everything's legally sound.
so it protects both me as the buyer and the seller.
Exactly. It ensures that the seller has proof that I have the money, and it guarantees that I don't release the funds until I'm happy with everything.
Okay, that makes me feel a lot better. It's like a safety net for everyone involved. But how do I know my money is actually safe in this account?
Well, for starters, it's managed by a notary public. They're legally bound to handle the funds responsibly.
Okay, that's good to know. But what about REMAX UTLAND themselves? How do I know they're trustworthy?
Remember their spotless track record. No legal issues, no complaints, nothing. They've built their business on transparency and doing things right.
Right, they did mention that a few times. It's reassuring to know they have a good reputation. But what if I need help after I've bought the property? What if something goes wrong?
That's a good question. While the brochure doesn't explicitly talk about post-sale support, their focus on customer satisfaction suggests they wouldn't just disappear after the deal is done.
You're right, it wouldn't make sense to build all this trust and then abandon their clients.
Exactly. They seem to be in it for the long haul, building relationships and making sure their clients are happy.
Wow, this deep dive has been really eye-opening. We've covered so much. Market trends, those unique services, financial safeguards, their commitment to ethical practices.
They've really thought of everything, haven't they?
I started this whole thing feeling pretty intimidated by the idea of buying property overseas, but now I feel a lot more confident.
That's fantastic. It's amazing what a little knowledge and understanding can do.
Absolutely. This deep dive has given me the information I need to seriously consider taking the plunge. Who knows, maybe I'll be sipping cocktails on a Gran Canaria beach sooner than I thought.
And remember, this is just the beginning of your journey. There's a whole world of information out there waiting to be explored.
That's right. And we'll be sure to include links to REMAX UTLAND's website and other helpful resources in the show notes, so you can continue your own deep dive into the world of Gran Canaria real estate. But before we go, I want to leave you with one final thought.
Okay, I'm listening.
We've talked a lot about the practicalities, the logistics, the nuts and bolts of buying property overseas. But beyond all that, what does it really mean to own a piece of paradise?
That's a great question. It's about more than just the property itself. It's about the lifestyle, the experiences, the memories you create.
Exactly. It's about embracing a new culture, exploring a new place, and maybe even reinventing yourself a little along the way.
So to our listeners out there, Don't be afraid to dream big. Do your research, explore your options, and see where your own deep dive takes you.
And remember, whether you're dreaming of a sunny island escape or just a change of scenery, stay curious, keep exploring, and keep diving deep.